Hello world, welcome back to the Razor RC, and we are here with the Team Corelli Asuga XLR. This is an extra long 8-scale buggy. I would say it's 7-scale, but I think officially Team Corelli just says it's an extra long 8-scale vehicle, and we are doing the full review. So the way this review works is we go through 6 different categories as usual, and it's rated on a from 1 to 5 stars, where 3 stars is average. So doesn't mean it's bad. 3 stars is actually just means it's typical for something like this. If it's above average, it gets over 3 stars. If it's below average, it gets below 3 stars. A little bit confusing to some people, but that means it's graded on a curve. So yeah, we're going to be doing this full review and trying this thing out. So we got the radio on, turning on the car, got a 6S pack in here. And yeah, let's get into it. So as you can see, the body just kind of mounts on like that with some nice little protectors and my body clip in the front. And yeah, let's take this thing out. First category is the electronics, and comes with the CT2R, pretty solid radio, foam wheel for double A's, 2.4 gigahertz, works totally fine. No issues with range or anything like that, so responsiveness is totally fine for a basher. It does have the current 825 system. I think it's 150 amp ESC, 6S capable of course, but you can also run 4S if you're more into that type of thing. And then the servo, 7225 servo, works totally fine. So I think the electronics on this thing, you know, as I've mentioned in many of my Corelli review videos, is pretty much best in class for sure. The power, the punch, the acceleration, everything on this is top of class. So we're gonna give it 5 stars in the electronics category. I think it's the best. Next up is the design, and this is pretty much an 8-scale buggy, just with a stretched chassis, a little bit longer arms, bigger wheels and tires, and a bigger wing actually. So it is what I would consider like Team Corelli's 5th generation stuff. So this is the first of the, what I would say 5th generation. I don't think it's officially that, but it's got the reinforced differentials with the extra bracing into the hinge pins. It's got the spring steel outdrives, the all aluminum shock cast with the heavy duty pistons, all steel drivetrain of course, CVAs up front, dog bones in the rear. It's got the pivot ball suspension, the you know, very thick, I think over 5mm shocks. I measured them at like 5.1 or something like that. Nice hybrid composite chassis braces down the middle. So even though it's a buggy, it does have pretty substantial bracing down the middle, which makes it nice and durable, even though it's a flat pan, low slung tie body. 17mm wheel hexes all the way around. Now the things, you know, some other brands might have are adjustable turnbuckles. This has got the plastic composite links, which makes it more durable, but less adjustments, and a little bit fewer adjustments on the shock towers up here in the front. They basically built it a little bit more for durability rather than adjustments, but you know, pretty solid design overall. I would take, you know, 1 star off probably for just the battery tray and the fewer adjustments, but it does have sway bars front and rear. Really nice design overall. So it's going to get 4 stars in the design category. I think it's pretty solid. Definitely no issues with the design. A little bit harder to work on with that extra bracing down the middle, but other than that, you know, I think it's really, really good. Now performance is where I think this thing shines. I can't really think of another large-scale buggy like this that really is on the market. They tend to be either short course trucks or monster trucks or something like that, but this thing does drive awesome. Super fun because it is still got the handling, the flying, the performance, the steering, everything of an 8-scale or larger buggy, but it's obviously a little bit bigger, so it can handle rougher terrain. Just drives awesome. To me, it's actually the most fun of the Corellis. I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm definitely a fan of 8-scale buggy, so that's part of it. So you got the handling of an 8-scale buggy, but with kind of the size, a little bit more ground clearance with the bigger tires. So you can definitely drive it on rougher terrain like this, which is, oops, got a little shoe there. The speed, like I mentioned, is tremendous on these Team Corrales 6S vehicles, so no issues there. A little bit easier to drive than the other Team Corrales as well. It's just a little bit longer wheelbase, flies through the air better, handles better, it doesn't rotate quite as insanely in the air doing flips and stuff like that. So big fan of this. In the performance category, I'm gonna give it 5 stars. I think this is probably my favorite Team Corrale, and a big part of it is just the handling, the driving of this is phenomenal. I think even the tires work really well, so 5 stars in the performance category. These new Team Corrales are quite durable. I think they're actually one of the strongest vehicles out there that you can get. Did break a couple things, so just want to talk about that a bit as we fly through the air. It was really just the upper arms on the front there that I broke both sides. One was a pretty bad crash, you know, jumping it probably 20 feet in the air or so, but the other one was just a huge send, I think a backflip. But I landed it flat, you know, on all fours, and it did break, so I replaced both of those, and they've been holding up since. I also took out the inserts on the front arms. There's actually these downforce little wings on, or inserts on the front arms that add a little more stiffness as well, so I removed them just to give it a little bit more flex. It seems okay now, but yeah, that's probably a part I would stock up on, just because those are areas that I think can break. Other than that, yeah, the truck's been pretty stout. It's just, you know, drive shafts, outdrives, everything has been totally fine, so I think the durability is very good, but I am going to give it 1 star because I think those front arms are something that you will definitely want to stock up on. And also, if you do land on the front shock towers, you can definitely bend the shock standoffs, but very solid durability overall, just like, you know, all the latest Team Corrales, so quite impressed there. 4 stars in the durability category. Team Corrale is a little bit smaller brand here in the US. They do have very good parts support if you buy directly from Team Corrale, and shipping is quite cheap and pretty fast throughout the world, so that is always an option. But most hobby shops in the US are not going to carry parts, so you know, definitely a little bit harder to get parts than some of the other major brands out there. But it is nice that you can actually get parts. I think they're slowly improving their dealership network here in the US. I know Garage Life RC started carrying parts, Hobby Recreation Products is the main distributor. My local hobby shop carries a few parts, and I know there's like Chicagoland RC and a few other stores. You can always go to Jenny's RC as well as get, you know, sort of part out vehicles. That's one option as well. They also have the 1-page manual, which is a series of videos specifically on the Asuga. I'll have a link in the description below where you can take a look at that, but that is going to be another area where you can definitely get more support than some of the other brands out there. As we crash our car. Last thing I would say is, yeah, working on this is a little bit more difficult. You know, they definitely have a lot of bracing, extra parts that you'll have to remove to get to the center differential, for example. It's not difficult, just maybe a few more screws. But yeah, in the support and maintenance category, I think they're getting better. Definitely, you know, if they could get somebody like Amy or somebody to carry their parts, I think that would help. But in the support and maintenance category, I am going to give it 2 stars. I do like that they are trying to improve things, and you know, hopefully that continues in the future. The Asuga sells for $619 here in the US for the ready to run. That includes everything you need except for a battery and charger, but they also make a roller for a couple $100 less. So a couple different options depending on how much you want to spend and whether you want to use the Team Corrale electronics or your own. But I think that's an excellent value, considering that most of these cars are starting to get more like $700. It's hard to say what the comparables to this are, because I can't think of any other like 7-scale large buggies out there, at least on the electric side. But you do have things like the Max Slash, which is 7-scale. You do have the you know, the Mojave 6S, which is 7-scale, the Big Rock 6S, things like that. They're all pretty much about $700. So at $619, I think this is an excellent value. I think actually, considering the performance, the really good electronics, the high quality parts, spring steel outdrives. Oh, saved it. And just a fun little vehicle, good tires. Overall, I'm going to give it 5 stars in the value category. I think this is really good. Definitely, I don't think you can get anything cheaper with this level of quality, as I'm crashing it every 5 seconds. But yeah, 5 stars in the value category. I think it's best in class. So my final thoughts on the Asuga, I think it's actually very fun. I would say this is a little bit like class defining, because I can't really think of any other large scale buggies like this. And those of you who follow the channel, I'm a big fan of 4-wheel drive buggies, either on the 10 scale or the 8 scale. I've got a ton of like nitro 8 scale buggies, you know, a couple electric ones as well. And then I've had many 10 scale 4-wheel drive buggies. So 4-wheel drive buggy is definitely my favorite class. And the thing I like about this is it's a 4-wheel drive buggy, but it's a little bit bigger, can handle like rougher terrain. As you can see, we've got big rocks and ruts and stuff like that. And you can actually drive this thing here. An 8 scale buggy does tend to struggle here, definitely bottoms out and, you know, gets beat up a little bit more because the rough terrain here, you know, is pretty harsh on 8 scale buggies. But this is being a little bit bigger tires, a little bit more ground clearance, definitely can handle a little bit more. So it's pretty fun. I think this is almost like the perfect place to take it, like a bigger 8 scale size beat up, rutted out track like this is pretty much the perfect place. So tons of fun. If you're looking for something like that, I think this is a great choice, probably like almost like the only choice. But for me, yeah, this is actually my favorite Team Corelli vehicle to drive. I think it's the best out there. You know, the other ones like the Kagama are fun, more like stunt trucks. This thing, you can actually handle a little power a little bit better. The Kagama can be quite insane, as RCTNT did say in his review. It is quite brittle. I mean, it backflips on command pretty much from a standstill, whereas this is much more controllable, easier to drive, definitely flies through the air, a little bit more in control. So if you find the 6S stuff from Team Corelli to be a bit brittle or tough to handle, this one is definitely much more, I think, intermediate friendly, whereas the other ones can definitely be more of an expert level vehicle. But tons of fun. Big fan of the Asuga XLR. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe buttons. Look for more videos soon. Thanks for watching.